Welcome to English Academy by Monica. This lesson is created for learners who want to speak English confidently and naturally during a job interview. No difficult grammar, no complicated words, only real English that interviewers expect to hear. A job interview is not about using big vocabulary. It is about being clear, calm, and professional. Many people know English words, but they feel nervous and confused when they sit in front of an interviewer. This lesson helps you sound prepared, confident, and natural. A job interview usually starts with simple conversation. The interviewer wants to understand 3 things. Can you communicate clearly? Are you confident but polite? Do you understand professional English? That is why your first answers matter a lot. Let's begin with the most common opening moment in an interview. When you enter the room, you greet the interviewer. Your greeting should be polite, short, and confident. You do not need to speak fast. You do not need to explain everything. Here are natural sentences used in real interviews. Example conversation. Good morning. Thank you for inviting me today. This sentence is polite and professional. It shows respect and confidence at the same time. If the interviewer replies and asks you to sit, you can say, "Thank you. It's nice to meet you." This sounds calm and friendly. It makes a positive first impression. Now, the interviewer usually starts with a simple question. Tell me about yourself. This is not a personal question. They do not want your full life story. They want a short professional introduction. A strong answer has 3 parts: your name, your professional background, and what you are currently doing. Example answer. My name is Alex. I have experience in customer service, and I've worked with different teams in fast-paced environments. Recently, I've been focusing on improving my communication skills and learning more about this field. This answer is clear. It is not long. It sounds confident and professional. Notice something important. The speaker does not rush. The speaker does not use difficult words. The speaker sounds calm and prepared. This is exactly how interview English should sound. Remember, at a job interview, clarity is more important than perfection. Speaking slowly and clearly is a strength, not a weakness. Take your time, breathe, speak with confidence. After the first greeting and introduction, the interviewer usually continues with simple questions. These questions may sound easy, but they are very important. They help the interviewer understand how you think, how you speak, and how comfortable you are in a professional conversation. At this stage, the interviewer is not testing your technical skills yet. They are listening to your communication style. One common mistake many learners make is overthinking. They try to sound perfect. They try to remember grammar rules. This creates stress and breaks natural flow. In an interview, natural English is always better than perfect English. The interviewer wants answers that are clear, relevant, calm, and professional. Short answers are not bad. Long answers are not always good. The key is balance. When you listen to a question, do not answer immediately if you feel nervous. A short pause is completely normal. It shows that you are thinking. Another important skill is understanding the real meaning of a question. For example, when an interviewer asks about your background, they are not asking for every job you have ever done. They want to know how your experience connects to the position. When they ask about your strengths, they are not asking you to praise yourself loudly. They want to see if you understand your abilities and can explain them clearly. Professional English in interviews is simple and controlled. You speak with purpose. You do not add unnecessary details. You stay focused on the job. Tone also matters a lot. Your voice should sound respectful, confident, steady. Speaking too softly can sound unsure. Speaking too fast can sound nervous. Speaking too loudly can sound aggressive. A calm, steady tone creates trust. Another important point is body language, even when focusing on language. Good English is not only about words, it is also about how you present yourself. Sit straight, maintain gentle eye contact, nod naturally to show you are listening. These small actions support your English and make your answers stronger. Also, remember that interview English is formal but friendly. It is not casual like talking to a friend. It is not too stiff like reading a book. Think of it as respectful conversation. If you do not understand a question clearly, it is okay to ask for clarification. This does not make you look weak. It shows professionalism. Clear communication always matters more than guessing. As you move forward in an interview, your goal stays the same: to communicate who you are, what you can do, and why you are a good fit, calmly and clearly. This foundation prepares you for more detailed questions later in the conversation. After the opening conversation, the interviewer often asks about your experience and skills. This is a very important moment in a job interview. Here, the interviewer wants to understand what you have done and what you can do for the company. Many learners feel nervous at this stage because they think their experience is not enough. But in an interview, how you explain your experience matters more than how much experience you have. You do not need to list every job. You only need to talk about experience that is relevant to the position. When speaking about your experience, keep 3 things in mind. Speak clearly, stay focused on the job, and connect your skills to real work situations. Do not memorize long answers. Instead, understand your experience and explain it naturally. The interviewer may ask about your previous job, your responsibilities, or what you learned. Your answer should show responsibility, teamwork, and reliability. Now let's look at how this sounds in real English interview. Example answer. In my previous role, I worked as part of a team where I handled daily tasks and communicated with clients. I learned how to manage time effectively and stay organized, especially during busy hours. This answer is strong because it is simple and clear. It does not use difficult vocabulary. It focuses on real responsibilities. The interviewer might also ask about your skills. When talking about skills, avoid using only single words like communication or teamwork. Always explain them briefly. Example answer. One of my strengths is communication. I'm comfortable speaking with different people, and I make sure to listen carefully so I can respond clearly and professionally. This sounds natural and confident. It shows understanding, not memorization. Another common question is about learning and improvement. Interviewers like candidates who want to grow. Example answer. I always try to improve my skills. I pay attention to feedback, and I like learning new ways to work more efficiently. This answer shows a positive attitude. It shows that you are open to development. Notice something important in all these answers. They are calm. They are not rushed. They stay focused on work-related topics. You do not need perfect grammar to make a strong impression. You need clear ideas and honest answers. When you speak about your experience, think like a professional, not like a student. You are sharing your journey, not taking a test. This mindset helps your English sound natural and confident. By explaining your experience and skills clearly, you help the interviewer imagine you in the role, and that is exactly what a good interview conversation should do. As the interview continues, questions often become more thoughtful. The interviewer may ask questions about how you behave at work or how you handle situations. These questions help them understand your attitude, decision-making, and problem-solving style. Behavioral questions are not meant to confuse you. They are meant to show how you act in real work environments. These questions usually focus on teamwork, responsibility, pressure, problem-solving, and communication. When you hear these questions, stay calm. There is no single perfect answer. The interviewer is listening to how you explain your thinking. A common mistake is trying to give a dramatic or impressive story. That is not necessary. Simple, honest explanations sound more professional. When answering, focus on 3 ideas: what the situation was, what you did, what you learned or achieved. You do not need to say this structure out loud. Just keep it in your mind while speaking. Professional interview English here is clear and organized. You explain actions, not emotions. You focus on solutions, not problems. If the question is about teamwork, show cooperation. If it is about pressure, show calmness. If it is about mistakes, show learning and improvement. Interviewers respect candidates who take responsibility. Blaming others never sounds professional. Another important point is honesty. If you have not faced a specific situation, do not panic. You can explain how you would handle it instead. This shows maturity and clear thinking. Tone matters again at this stage. Speak steadily. Avoid sounding defensive. Avoid sounding unsure. A confident tone does not mean loud or fast. It means controlled and clear. Also, remember that pauses are acceptable. Taking a moment to think shows care, not weakness. Your goal is not to impress with language. Your goal is to communicate reliability and professionalism. By answering situational questions calmly and clearly, you show the interviewer that you can handle real work situations, not just answer questions. This level of communication builds trust and moves the interview conversation forward naturally. At this stage of the interview, the conversation often becomes more personal, but still professional. The interviewer wants to understand how well you know yourself. Questions about strengths and weaknesses are not traps. They are opportunities to show honesty, balance, and self-awareness. Many learners make the mistake of trying to sound perfect, but interviewers do not look for perfection. They look for awareness and improvement. When talking about strengths, avoid sounding proud or exaggerated. Choose strengths that are useful for the job. Explain them calmly and clearly. Example answer. Strengths: One of my strengths is reliability. I take my responsibilities seriously, and I always try to complete my work on time. I believe consistency is very important in a professional environment. This answer works because it is simple and focused. It shows value without overconfidence. Now, let's talk about weaknesses. A weakness does not mean something negative about your character. It means an area you are improving. Never say you have no weaknesses. That sounds unrealistic. Choose a real weakness, but show growth and effort. Example answer. Weaknesses. In the past, I sometimes focused too much on details. Over time, I learned how to manage my time better and balance quality with efficiency. This answer shows honesty. It also shows learning and control. Another common self-awareness question is about feedback. Interviewers want to know if you can accept feedback professionally. Example answer. I value feedback because it helps me improve. I listen carefully, ask questions if needed, and try to apply it in my work. This shows maturity and teamwork. Notice how all these answers stay calm and professional. They do not include emotional language. They stay connected to work behavior. When speaking about yourself, your goal is balance. Confident but not proud. Honest but not negative. Clear but not long. Self-awareness is a strong skill in any job. When you express it clearly in English, it leaves a positive impression. By answering these questions naturally, you show the interviewer that you understand yourself, and that makes you easier to trust and work with. As the interview moves forward, the interviewer often wants to understand why you are here. They are not only interested in your skills, they want to know your motivation and your attitude toward work. Questions about motivation help the interviewer see if you are genuinely interested in the role or just looking for any job. Your English here should sound thoughtful and sincere. When speaking about motivation, avoid very general answers. Saying you want the job only because of money or convenience does not sound professional. Instead, focus on interest, learning, and contribution. Professional English interview at this stage is positive and forward-looking. You speak about growth, responsibility, and commitment. Another important topic is interest in the company or position. Interviewers appreciate candidates who understand the role and respect the organization. You do not need deep company knowledge. You only need to show that you are interested and prepared. Your tone should sound engaged but calm, not too excited, not too flat. This balance shows maturity. Questions about professional attitude may also appear here. The interviewer may want to know how you handle responsibility, schedules, or expectations. A professional attitude is shown through your language, respectful wording, clear responses, positive mindset. Avoid complaining about past jobs. Avoid negative language about previous employers. Even if your experience was difficult, focus on learning, not problems. Another key point is commitment. Interviewers want to feel that you take work seriously and value consistency. Your English should reflect reliability and respect for the role. Remember, motivation is not about sounding impressive. It is about sounding genuine. When you speak honestly and calmly, your English feels natural. This helps the interviewer connect with you on a professional level. By expressing motivation and interest clearly, you show that you are not only capable, you are also invested. This combination is very powerful in an interview conversation.
Near the end of a job interview, the conversation often changes direction. The interviewer may give you space to speak more freely. This is a moment many candidates overlook, but it is very important. When the interviewer invites you to ask questions, it is not a formality. It is a chance to show interest, confidence, and professionalism. Not asking any questions can make you appear uninterested. Asking too many questions can feel unprepared. The goal is balance. Your questions should be respectful and job-focused. They should show that you are thinking about the role and the work environment. Avoid questions about salary or time off at this stage, unless the interviewer brings them up. Focus instead on expectations, growth, or team culture. Asking questions is part of professional communication. It turns the interview into a two-way conversation. Tone matters here as well. Your voice should remain calm and confident. You are not requesting something personal. You are showing professional curiosity. As the interview begins to close, your language should reflect appreciation and respect. This final impression stays in the interviewer's mind. Do not rush this moment. Do not sound relieved or overly casual. Stay professional until the very end. Another important skill here is listening. When the interviewer explains next steps or shares information, pay attention. This shows respect and seriousness. If the interviewer thanks you for coming, respond politely and confidently. Your closing words should be short and sincere. A professional closing does not require many words. It requires the right tone. By handling this stage calmly and respectfully, you complete the interview conversation in a strong and balanced way. This shows that you understand professional communication from beginning to end. As the interview comes to an end, what stays with the interviewer is not only what you said, but how you said it. Your words, your tone, your calmness, and your confidence all come together in this final moment. A successful interview is not about perfect English. It is about clear communication. It is about being present, respectful, and professional. Many learners think they fail interviews because their English is not advanced enough. In reality, most interviews are won by people who speak simply, calmly, and honestly. Every question you answered was an opportunity to show your mindset, an opportunity to show your attitude, an opportunity to show that you are ready to work and grow. Confidence in English does not come from memorizing answers. It comes from understanding how to express yourself clearly. When you understand this, your fear begins to disappear. Remember this: interviewers do not expect you to be perfect. They expect you to be real, prepared, and professional. Even if an interview does not go as planned, it is never a failure. It is experience. It is practice. It is progress. Every interview you attend makes you better. Every conversation strengthens your English. Every effort builds confidence. If you speak slowly, clearly, and with purpose, your English becomes your strength, not your weakness. Trust yourself. Trust your preparation. Trust your ability to learn and improve. Your English does not need to be advanced to be powerful. It needs to be clear, calm, and confident. Thank you for learning with English Academy by Monica. Keep practicing, keep improving, and remember, the right opportunity always comes to those who prepare with patience and confidence.